Welcome to Agricultural MSDS Training. This learning module was created for the landscaping personnel at Dallas Baptist University. The purpose of this training is to define MSDS, identify how to read MSDS forms, learn more about right-to-know stations, and agricultural chemicals used in landscaping, and the importance of drift, proper documentation, and the environmental impact of chemicals. Obviously, MSDS is an acronym for Material Safety Data Sheets and is defined as the approved form of communication by OSHA that contains important chemical information such as toxicity, health effects, reactivity, storage and disposal, all the pertinent information about physical properties such as odor, color, melting and boiling point, and density, and all the health risks and appropriate precautions for handling chemicals, such as the use of gloves, a hood or lab coat, and special breathing apparatuses. Who is MSDS for? They are for those employees working with the material in an occupational fashion. These include employees who work with chemicals, employees who need to know the proper storage of chemicals, emergency responders, which includes firefighters and hazmat teams. MSDS is not for consumers. So why do we need to keep MSDS inventory? In short, because we are required by law and for your own safety and awareness. And the official explanation is because the U.S. government's Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, is responsible for the Hazard Communication Standard 29 CFR 1910-1200. The purpose of this standard is to ensure all the hazards of chemicals produced domestically or imported are evaluated and the information concerning their hazards is transmitted to employers and employees. This transmittal of information is to be accomplished by means of comprehensive hazard communication programs, which are to include container labeling and other forms of warning, material safety data sheets, and employee training. Now let's discuss how to read an MSDS. The video should be paused at this point as your moderator goes over the handout of a sample MSDS. MSDS forms are housed in two places at the DBU physical plant facilities, which are inside the north door of the office building and in the grounds shop area. These stations house binders of every MSDS sheet of any chemical used at the university. It is your right as an employee to know about the chemicals you work with in the landscaping department. The chemicals you may be exposed to while working in the landscaping department have been derived for agriculture. These chemicals include pesticides we use to control insects or weeds. So let's discuss these briefly. Pesticide is a broad term to describe most of the chemicals we use in landscaping. Pest means nuisance or unwanted, and side means to kill. Herbicide is a pesticide that kills plants, and insecticide is a pesticide that kills insects. In order to legally apply pesticides, the university must have licensed personnel through the Texas Department of Agriculture. Robert Erickson and Steve Christie are both licensed by the state to handle these chemicals, which also allows other employees working under their direction to apply pesticides. Here's what a pesticide license looks like. It also requires 5 hours of state-approved continuing education each year to hold the license. Steve Christie maintains all the records of every pesticide used by the landscaping department each day. This spreadsheet includes what chemical was used, at what rate, where it was sprayed, and the wind velocity at the time. These records must be maintained at all times as required by the license holder and can be inspected without notice by a Department of Agriculture inspector. Wind drift from spraying when the wind velocity is over 15 miles per hour can carry droplets of pesticides to undesired locations. This can be detrimental to the environment, especially if a stream or lake is nearby. Many of the products we apply by tractor are not for aquatic use, and therefore wind drift is a large concern. The wind must be monitored and recorded at the time of any spray application. The environmental impact of lakes and streams by pesticides is a hot topic with governmental agencies and the source of much debate today. The chemicals we use are monitored closely so that non-target areas like lakes, streams, groundwater, and non-target pastures or communities are not adversely affected. It is important that we not only obey the law according to pesticide applications, but are also good stewards of the environment as well. Personal protective equipment, or PPE, is also very important when spraying chemicals with a tractor and spot treatments. The appropriate PPE shall be worn by employees at all times when applications are completed. The supervisor in charge of the employee is directly responsible to ensure these procedures are followed, which differ depending on the pesticide used. These items include gloves, long-sleeved shirts, hats, eyewear, and boots. Now, let's review what we have discussed today. We defined MSDS and the reason for them. We identified how to read MSDS forms. We learned about right-to-know stations. We discussed agricultural chemicals used in landscaping, and we learned about wind drift, the importance of proper documentation of pesticides, and we acknowledged how non-target areas can be affected by spray drift in the surrounding environment. We also discussed how PPE should always be worn. This is the end of this section of agricultural MSDS training. Please go on to the other sections of the learning module and final exam.